So I want you to imagine this. So you have a set of glasses on and your glasses are rose colored. So they're tinged a little rose. And so you look around the world and you see more positive than negative, more benefits than drawbacks, and you filter the world accordingly. You have a skip in your step. Then you put your black lensed glasses on, and again, you filter the world differently. And instead, you see the world as more negative than positive, more downside than upside. And you feel different. Instead of being all rosy and upbeat, you feel downtrodden. And so imagine you take off your glasses for the very first time and you see the world for what it actually is. You don't see outer and inner. You don't see us and them. You don't see you and me. You see no difference between nature, buildings, and yourself, that it is all one.
Our masterclass this evening will be presented by Tanya Cross, founder of Maximum Growth. She's a counselor. She's a master certified DiMartini method facilitator and a fan of terrible puns. Interesting. She mentors leaders from all levels, from CEOs right up to the solopreneurs. Do we have some solopreneurs in the room? And in this case, she's mentoring them, guiding them to make impact, and most importantly, the income they would love. She's also built a social community for them because, hey, let's face it, leaders get lonely too. And she's going to help us ensure that we come together and become there in the space. And you will be able to see and visit and get her weekly wisdom on a link that I'll post shortly on the chat box. But ladies and gentlemen, please give a rousing round of applause, a virtual energy to Tanya Cross as she presents her masterclass in the next few minutes. Over to you, Tanya. Welcome.
Thank you. Every part of your business has the potential to stress you out and keep you up at night. From the lack of sales to too much debt, to not enough money to scale your business, to problems with equipment or operations, to issues with employees or government regulations that seem to change quite rapidly, or even a pandemic that can sideswipe you, that business is challenging. So having a mindset that can make you resilient and adaptable to these challenging times is going to help you keep you going when times are tough, when you feel like the entire world is against you and against the idea that you have, that it helps you, that when you're beaten down, helps you to get back up again and continue to level up time and time again. And this is vital in terms of having a business and having success inside of business, because your mindset matters. Our topic tonight is how to nurture a business mindset. In the work that I've been working with clients for over a decade in both group and one-on-one sessions, and this is the thing that I've noticed what is common to those that go the furthest. And I'm going to share with you today the secret sauce. And there's two things. So you're going to walk away at the end of this session to have some practical tools to not only the theory behind why people struggle or why, what it takes to have a business mindset, but also some practical steps to be able to go and shift your mindset for business success. And it is simple. Now you might want to get out your pen and paper and write this down. The number one tip I have for you, and the number one thing to do, is clear your fear. I wonder if there was nothing in the way of you achieving your business success and achieving the income and impact that you would love, how would life be? How would business be, and what would shift for you if there was no limits? You see, what I notice is fear prevents people from leveling up in business. They have an amazing talent. They are brilliant at what they do. They love what they do. They have an inspiring idea. They have this inspiration behind it. But there's this wall of fear that can block people and prevent them from taking their idea to market, or really themselves to market, and accelerating their business to the next level. There are a plethora of fears that I have heard. Fear of failure, fear of being on camera, the fear of making a mistake, the fear of making a fool of yourself, the fear of judgment for what other people might think of you, the fear that people won't like you, the fear of working so much that you don't have time for family and you don't have time for your kids anymore, the fear of loss of money. I've even heard people have the fear of success. So let me lay a foundation and framework for you so we can talk about fears. Now, we can't talk about this without talking about perceptions. So I want you to imagine this. So you have a set of glasses on and your glasses are rose-colored. So they're tinged a little rose. And so you look around the world and you see more positive than negative, more benefits than drawbacks, and you filter the world accordingly. You have a skip in your step. Then you put your black lensed glasses on, and again you filter the world differently, and instead you see the world as more negative than positive, more downside than upside, and you feel different. Instead of being all rosy and upbeat, you feel downtrodden. And so imagine you take off your glasses for the very first time and you see the world for what it actually is. You don't see outer and inner. You don't see us and them. You don't see you and me. You see no difference between nature, buildings, and yourself, that it is all one. And it all is. And it is perfect. It's this unchanging universal consciousness or spirit that underlines everything in the entire universe. There's just oneness and a connectedness. Now, the last time I checked, you're human, yeah? So you can't possibly see this unity and oneness, wholeness, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Instead, you have your glasses on and you filter your experience and your world through your perceptions, and they create judgments. See, Friedrich Nietzsche said that all things are subject to interpretation, and whatever interpretation prevails at the time is a function of power, not the truth, because the truth is there underlying underneath our glasses. So recently so we're going to put this now framework and this idea about perceptions and how we filter the world, and we're going to put this and transpose this onto fear. Now, recently I had a moment of utter fear. I was in my bathroom. It was late at night and I was brushing my teeth, and in the corner of my eye, I see movement, and I look down. So between me and the door is a white-tailed spider. Now, I don't know if you know this, but in Australia, we have quite a number of deadly creatures, and a white-tailed spider is one of the ones you do not want close to your body. So I see this thing, and this thing is massive. I tell you, it is massive. It's like a bird eating. And I have done this like Kung Fu master, like jump over this spider, through the door and out, hightail it. Now, the interesting thing is I've gone from tranquility, getting ready for bed, to then high adrenaline, massive fear going through my body, over exaggerating something that was this big to being much bigger. And I am shaking and trembling. My mind is struggling to come back to center again. In that moment, I have an extreme perception, a lot of drawbacks to this spider, a lot of negatives, not very many positives. I have my dark rimmed glasses on. So picture this scene again, but it's you. And you have been asked to speak in front of the world leaders of your field on a topic that you know a little bit about. What happens inside of your body? How do you feel? Do you have the flight response and you go, oh, I can't do that, and you have to run away? Or do you have the freeze response and you say, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. Do I want to do this? And then you can stay immobile from fear of not sure what to do. So let's look at this then in terms of the psychology around fear. So fear is a distorted perception of what is actually happening in your environment. You no longer see this oneness experience, but you see this perception of greater negative than positive, greater fear. And the result of that, the greater you stack that up, the greater negatives you see in your environment, the greater amount of fear you have. And fear can be very debilitating. You are no longer in the driver's seat of your perceptions, that you are being run and governed by triggers that you have inside of your body that instantly, and memories that instantly make you do something and make you avoid something. So how do you then clear a fear? So you might want to write this down. The quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions and the quality of answers you provide. So the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask and the quality of answers you provide. You change your questions, you change your answers, you change your mind, and you change your life. There is a structured step-by-step process that you can do to shift any and clear any fear or blockage that you have. I'm about to share with you the ingredient, the secret ingredient of the sauce, to be able to shift it so that you can have business success at any level that you choose. The first part of this is every fear is based upon past experience. You cannot have something that you have an emotional charge about in the near or far future if it's not as a result of something that's happened in the past. So let me give you an example. A client had feared a loss of money, and that was because of the 2008 global crisis in which he lost a lot of money. And he, when the pandemic happened, started to have flashbacks and fear again that was preventing him from making decisions because of the unresolved emotional charges from the past that hadn't been worked through, that were activated in the current moment. So fear is a result of past perceptions or past misperceptions. Now, the quality of your life is determined by the quality of questions you ask. So we just have to ask a different question to get a different result. So if you have fear, you go back to the moment, you get really clear on the initial point of where and when you first felt that emotional charge, and you're there and present in that moment, and you ask, how specifically did that serve me? So instead of seeing all negatives, very little positives, we ask the question, how did that serve me, to see the benefits of it to stack up, so we get to a ratio of 1-to-1, that there's equal benefits to drawbacks. And that way you free your body and you free your mind from that dynamic. Because all you have to do is change something up here. Your body will also follow, and your fear you will be free from. So you change your mind and you change your life. Now there's one more layer I want to explain to you about fears. And this is something that you may not heard of, but it is based on quantum physics. And this is, so tell me your fantasies and I will show you your nightmares. Tell me your nightmares and I will show you your fantasies. The mind has an entangled pairs of opposites. So you cannot have fear without a fantasy. You cannot have a phobia without a philia. There can't have a fear without a fantasy. They're both entangled inside of the mind. They're complementary and undivided, but because of our awareness, we have a tendency to block one side out and we don't see the other side. So here are some examples of what I just shared, and it's that if you struggle financially and that's your fear, that's your nightmare, then it's entangled with a fantasy of money coming easily. That if you have difficulty in people not liking you and you struggle with that, it's because of a fantasy about being liked and people liking you. And the truth is, not everyone likes you. So sometimes we don't know what the entanglement is, but the quality of your question that you ask will help to reveal that. So you have to ask in the moment of fear, when you're present in that moment of fear, what's the comparison to the fantasy I have that's creating this dynamic of fear? When you look at the fantasy, you have to crack the fantasy if you want the fear to stop repeating. Most people go and think, I've got the fear, I want to get rid of my fear. And you go and you find strategies to be able to do that. But it's not until the fantasy is cracked that you will ever dissolve the fear. If that is one thing that you can take away from today, I hope that you get an opportunity to apply it and see this work. How you do that is you look at the fantasy, money comes easily, for example, and you ask what specifically is the drawback of that. So instead of looking for the positives of what you perceive to be challenging, you look for the negatives of what you perceive to be amazing. And so that you come to that equal spot again. So I've seen people do this exercise and have massive shifts in their life, from growing their business to being able to be free more financially to being able to be a leader in their field. So I encourage you to do this at least once a quarter, and it takes about 45 minutes to really do. If it's the first time, maybe allow for a little bit longer. So this means that you too can be a captain of your soul and a master of your destiny, because you are in the driver's seat of your business and also your money and your mind, your leadership and your life. Now, number 2 is, and the last one, we're only doing 2. That would be 3. So we're only doing 2. So the next is having and you want to write this one down, having a vivid vision. So if you were given a bow and arrow and told to shoot, what is your first response? So Tanya, at what? If you have no target, no purpose, you're going to shoot an arrow and you have no idea where that arrow is going to end up. The problem in our business, it's the same. If you have no goal, no end in mind, no vivid vision, then you could be ending up on the top of a ladder that you don't want to be on. You could end up having the market direct you and tell you what you need, the product, service, or idea that you need to offer to the market, but it's not what you truly want to do. You're outer world guided or directed instead of inner world guided. So the best way then to nurture your business mindset, once you've cleared your fears and removed your roadblocks, is to have a vivid vision. This is a clear picture and plan, not just picture, but plan that stretches your business beyond where you think you can go. It is that little bit uncomfortable. It's that little bit, I don't know if I can do this, but it's a stretch. The best part of having a vision is that the greater degree of clarity that you have, it's going to assist you in making decisions, because your decision-making process is going to change because you have an end in mind. Will this actually help me with my goal? It's going to ensure that everyone is working together in one team if you have more than one in your business and you have a common goal. And it also means challenges become easier to face, because you go and ask the quality question, how is this challenge serving me to help me achieve my vision? And that way you can see that this challenge doesn't have to be distracting you, but actually helping you to where you'd love to go. So how do you create a vivid vision? Helen Keller said that The most beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or heard, but they must be felt with the heart. So you want to sit down and write your vision statement, and just start with something. And then check inside of you. Does this feel like it's something heart-centered that would move me and stretch me on the days that I feel tired and I'm sleepy and I have to get up at 3:30 in the morning to present? Is this going to light a fire inside of you to get you going? That you don't just want fluffy words on the paper, but you want something to mean something, because meaning is the thing that will give you movement and traction in life. Now, I don't know if you know, but Bruce Lee, he had a vision statement. So let me read it to you. So he said that I, Bruce Lee, will be the first highest paid Oriental superstar in the United States. I will in return receive an exciting performance and render the best quality in a capacity of an actor. Starting in 1970, I will achieve world fame, and then onwards until the end of 1980, I will have in my possession $10 million. I will live a way that I please and achieve inner harmony and happiness. Bruce Lee, January 1969. He had a clear vision. I mean, he's still remembered as a phenomenal actor. The really interesting thing is he achieved his goal, and he achieved his goal not in 1980, but in 1974. Pretty amazing. So he didn't have to wait the 11 years to achieve it. He achieved it in 4. Sorry, 1973, not 74. So he achieved it in 4. What's really interesting was that he died mid-1973. And in his bank account, he had $10 million. So this doesn't mean that if you set a goal and you achieve it, that you're going to die. It just means that you have to set another goal and stretch you beyond, because he didn't have anything else. He potentially didn't have something else to live for, something else to strive for. And I know that is going to give you more life in you when you have something meaningful to live for. So when you start writing it, you want to ask this question, and you have your vision statement down. You've written what you feel is heart for you. Then you want to go, is this meaningful for me? Is this truly meaningful for me? And you want to go, the answer has to be yes. No hesitation, no doubt, yes. If it's not, you just go back to the drawing board, or if you need to start again, or you just keep on refining it. It can take some people days, weeks, months, even years to fully refine it. So don't feel and have an expectation, do it once and that's it. But you want to consider doing it over and over again. So when you combine your vision statement and clearing any fears that come in the way of you achieving your outcome, then instead of feeling like you're swimming upstream and it's a struggle and you're stressed and you're worried about finances, just dissolve the fear that's in the way. Be able to help you to move forward with your vivid vision that's so inspiring that it moves you. You become resistant and adaptable to the challenging times, that nothing can get in your way, that it helps you to continue to level up in business and in life. It means that when you are beaten down and you are really struggling, you have something to be able to do to help you, to shift you, to move you in the direction and help you to be able to have your business success that you dream of. And so this is what is going to make you unstoppable and is the best way to nurture a business mindset.
Thank you very much, Tanya, for that fantastic masterclass that you shared with us. Truly, truly appreciated. And most especially for you waking up to do this for us this morning.
Who needs sleep?
You know what? It's the second time we've had someone from Australia coming to share with us a masterclass, and I really appreciate the commitment, the time, the dedication. It is really, really, really appreciated. Thank you very much.